Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're gonna break down how you can build a project timeline that works for you. All right, so project timelines are an incredibly important part of successfully managing any project. You're organizing things like costs, timeframes, project details, and so much more. Now in this video, we're gonna cover three key things. Number one, what is a project timeline and what is it not? Number two, how to create a project timeline in 10 practical steps. And number three, we're gonna show you a working example of a timeline we're using right now. So what exactly is a project timeline? Now let's start this discussion by defining the main deliverables of any project. Those deliverables are project plans, work breakdown structures, and project timelines. The three of these are often confused, but they are all unique entities, and each contributes to overall project success in a different way. Now, the project plan is a formal outline of project goals, stakeholders, scope, responsibilities, and schedule. Which sounds like a lot, but what you want to do is take a project and break everything down into a single document that everyone can use as a reference point. Project managers can then produce the work breakdown structure, or WBS, based on the project plan. This is a representation of the tasks that teams must complete through the project lifecycle. If you would like to download a free work breakdown structure template, then we're gonna have a link right down below in the video description, so you can head back to our blog and we'll get that sent out to you right away. Now then, moving right along, a project timeline is essentially a list of tasks organized visually and chronologically. And this lets project managers see the entirety of a project in one place. You'll typically see timelines laid out horizontally on a bar chart where each task is given a name and a corresponding start and end date. And now that you understand what's required to deliver a project successfully, as well as what a project timeline is, let's go ahead and create one. Now, the first step in our process is to put together our project plan, and we can do so in 10 easy steps. The first of which is to sit down with any essential stakeholders and answer the important questions: who, what, why, when, and how. Now, allow me to give you a few examples. So, who will gain from the project outcome? Or who are the key stakeholders? What will the outcome look like? What is the budget? What expertise do you need to ensure success? Why is the deliverable necessary? Or why complete the project now? When does the deliverable need to be ready, and is this date flexible or fixed? And finally, how will the deliverable benefit the business, employees, or customers? Now, naturally, depending on the industry you're in, as well as the nature of the project, the questions that are most important for you and your team might be a bit different. But hopefully this gives you an idea of what you should be asking as you're developing your project plan, because asking these questions will help you develop the following as early as possible in the project lifecycle. Those being attainable goals, project scope, as well as a way to ensure key project leaders, including yourself, understand why the project is crucial to your organization's success. So now that you've taken care of your project plan, it's time to generate a work breakdown structure, which means you need to identify and outline the smaller deliverables. And there's really no need to worry about how long these tasks will take, or even how they'll relate to other tasks around them this early in the process. Just start by writing down these smaller deliverables. Now, to refine this even further, we'll break down these deliverables into smaller subtasks. We recommend using a Kanban board to organize these tasks with a hierarchy in mind. The reason we recommend a Kanban board is because this will give you a visual layout of all the required tasks that make up the flow of this project. Now, step 4 in our process is to determine task ownership and resource availability. So let's assign owners to each of the subtasks we've created. Presumably, you've already discussed who will handle some of the different components of this project, so this should be pretty easy. Once tasks have been assigned, you're ready to bring resource specialists and team leaders into the discussion. Step 5, we have sequence steps and estimate the time required. Now, your personal level of experience will really decide if you can sequence these steps alone. However, either way, we recommend getting in touch with your resource specialists so they can help you ensure nothing is missed. Step 6, we have identified dependencies and bottlenecks. As you sequence your project steps, you'll be able to identify which tasks need to be completed before others can be started, and these are known as dependencies. Through this process, you'll also be able to identify which tasks can be completed on their own. And this is also how you'll be able to start identifying bottlenecks. And if you identify bottlenecks too late, this can significantly delay your project completion. Step number 7, we have choosing your timeline software. And there's a lot of good options out there, but it's important to think about what will mesh well with your team. For example, do you prefer a waterfall-style Gantt chart suitable for more rigid project deliveries? Or do you favor flexibility, iteration, and communication? In that specific case, an agile approach like Kanban and Scrum is much more appropriate. And as I've shown you so far, Hubstaff Tasks has a Kanban board and a dedicated timeline feature for the greatest amount of flexibility. So it's of course my top recommendation. You can also create project timelines in Excel if you really want to, but with the number of project management tools that offer free basic plans, I would highly encourage you avoid investing so many hours into Excel since it's less streamlined and automated. Moving on to step 8, it's time to construct our project timeline. So this is the fun part. This is where we get to put everything together. First, we're going to start by listing all of the deliverables from our work breakdown structure, as well as the subtasks. We're going to organize those on our timeline. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you add the task owners. I already did this earlier when we put together our Kanban view in Hubstaff Tasks. And finally, we recommend using labels or some type of color coding system to assign dependencies between tasks. Step number 9, as we round out the list, is to assign milestones. Now that you have a functioning timeline where you can drag and drop tasks and adjust them as needed, you'll want to make sure you have an easy way to track progress. And to do this, we recommend creating an epic for the project. This will allow you to organize checkpoints throughout the project lifecycle, and these can be your milestones. Key stakeholders can quickly see how the project is progressing without needing to view the more detailed project timeline. They also serve as important review points in the project lifecycle, where you, your team, and the stakeholders can consider how things are progressing and if anything needs to be changed. And finally, step number 10, the final step in our process, is to share the project timeline with stakeholders and the team. You can bring it to everyone's attention in your next weekly meeting, or if you have a dedicated Slack channel for the project, you can post it and pin it there for everyone to reference whenever they need. And there you have it. If you found this video helpful, feel free to hit that thumbs up right down below. And if you are new here, consider subscribing to the channel so you're notified of any future video uploads. Also, remember that we do have a blog post that goes into much more detail on this subject, and if you'd like to check that out, you can hit the link right down below in the video description. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll talk to you in the next one.